everybody, and welcome to day 320 of Rhys' stories. And today I'm going to be continuing on the chapter called Taxi in this book called Moany, McMoan, The Summer Holidays, written by Flannery and illustrations by Rhys and Ruairi Flannery. So I hope you enjoyed the rest of this chapter. We didn't get up too early the next day. I put on my Ban GAA t-shirt after breakfast. I love wearing it. Mum went shopping the next day on her own. Dad said he would instead go to work, then go shopping for the day. And Dad is always giving out about having to go to work. Dad said that he had a few things he wanted us to see, and seeing as Mum wouldn't be back for a while, that we would go on a little adventure. We got another one of those yellow taxis to this mad-looking building that looked like it was in the wrong country, and that country is China. Dad said it is a famous building where all the big movies are shown first, and that all the famous actors who are in the films go there on the first night. Dad then brought us for a walk, showing us the footpath where all the famous people have a star with their name on it in the path, and some of them put their handprints or footprints in the cement too. Wonder if I will ever have one of those stars. Obviously, I was wondering just a little too much, because what I didn't see was a beautiful part of the footpath that some men were wearing those bright yellow jackets had been working on. They had just put down a green square of cement which some famous person was about to put their handprints in. Unfortunately, though, a not-so-famous person just walked in through the cement, leaving a lovely set of footprints in it instead. And then it says, "Do not walk." And there's famous person, another famous person, and used to be a famous person. So now I'm going to keep on reading the chapter for you. They went bananas. They started shouting at me and shaking their fists at me. Think it's time to get out of here fast. Dad spoke to them, and after a few minutes they calmed down a bit. How do I always seem to find trouble without looking for it? Actually, it is the not looking that caused this trouble. Wonder if I would suggest it to the mayor in Ban when I get home, that we should have one of those walks of fame things too. I should have a good chance of getting one of the stars there. We walked around for ages looking at the stars and at some people who were dressed up like famous people. Even managed to get a few selfies with some of them. I am starting to like these selfies. Millie was starting to get tired and wanted to go back to the hotel. Dad tried the whistling thing again to get a taxi. Then I spotted this colossal toy shop. I reckon it would take a week to walk around it. I spotted this new basketball game in the window that I had been looking for ages. I turned to show Dad, but he wasn't there. Actually, none of them were there. No, they had vanished, disappeared into thin air. Then I spotted Millie looking out the back window of one of those taxis. Now, what was I going to do? I tried to do what whistling thing like that, but it sounded like I was trying to blow up a balloon. Then somehow one of them stopped, and I jumped into it. Please, mister, can you follow that taxi? I said to the driver. He was wearing a baseball cap the wrong way around on his head. Kid, which taxi? He said. The yellow one, I replied. Are you having a laugh, kiddo? They are all yellow, said the taxi driver. He just looked at me and must have thought that I was nuts. Where are you from, kiddo? He asked. You ain't from around these parts, are you? I'm from Banban in Ireland, I replied. Then he must have realised that something wasn't right. You out here on your own? Where is the rest of your family? You are a little bit young to be out here all on your own, said the taxi driver. I told him what had just happened and how I just turned around and they were gone and that I really wanted to be with my family, even Mark, badly. You know the name of the hotel you are staying at? He asked. Nope, all I know is that it has over 37 floors, I said. Kiddo, they all have 37 floors, at least 37 floors. Some have 137 floors, he said. Leave it to me. I will get you home. He started driving around and around, asking me if anything looked familiar. Nothing. We drove for ages, but still not a sign of the hotel. There were loads of yellow taxis, but just not the one we were looking for. They all looked the same. He even got on the radio thing he has in the taxi and asked if anyone remembered picking up people from near the toy shop. Nope, we drove up the street, down the next road, across the bridge, under the next one. I was starting to really panic. Then I realised we were actually back at the toy shop where I had lost them in the first place. The driver stopped the taxi. I panicked even more when I remembered that I had no money. Kiddo, you want me to keep driving or will we wait here? Asked the taxi driver. Maybe when they notice that I am missing, they will come back here to look for me. Probably best if I wait here for them, I said. Mr. Taximan, I said, I'm afraid I have another teensy-weensy problem. I've no money to pay you for driving around and around. He looked really cross, and really cross. Just as I was about to say something, he put up his hand. Then he gave me a big smile. Kiddo, forget about it. I'll be happy if you can find your family, or even if they find you. Don't worry about the dough. Now I was confused as well as panicking. What dough was he talking about? He never mentioned anything about bacon when I got into the taxi. You sure you are okay waiting here? He asked. I got out of the taxi, said thanks to the taxi driver and gave him a high five. I will be back around in a little while, he said. If they don't come back, we will get you back to your hotel somehow. I walked back to the door of the toy shop and waited for a little while. Then I remembered something that Mum had told us to do if we ever got lost. Find a policeman. I looked up and down the street but could not see one anywhere. Then I did see one driving a police car. I tried to wave at him but he just waved back. I was starting to really panic. But then I saw a man dressed up like Darth Vader. You know, the evil one in Star Wars who makes a funny sound when he is breathing. I walked over to him. He looked down at me. He was really tall. Do you want a selfie? He asked. Nope, I replied. I am lost, I said. I told him what had happened, even though I know Mum had also told me to never talk to strangers. We got this dude, he said, as he took off his big black helmet. He took out his phone and started talking to someone. I never knew Darth Vader had a phone. Thought he could just use his mind power thingy to get me back to the hotel. They're all sorted, he said. Help is on the way. A few minutes later, a police car came speeding up the road. The lights were flashing on the top of the car. This huge policeman got out of the car. He walked over to us. By any chance, are you Mikey McMoan from Banban, the crime-fighting sports star? Asked the policeman. I just looked at him and nodded. How did you know that? I asked. Even poor Darth Vader looked confused, even more confused than I was, and I was confused. The policeman just winked at me. The police know everything, he said. By the way, I never introduced myself, he said. Officer Patrick Cuff, at your service. I believe you know my brother, Garda Mike Cuff, the policeman said. Also, your dad just reported you missing and that you were wearing a Banban t-shirt. He realized you were missing when they got back to the hotel, he said. Come on, let's get you back, Officer Cuff said. We got into the police car and he let me put on the lights and siren the whole way back to the hotel. Dad's face was very red when Officer Cuff handed me over. Dad thanked him a lot, and I mean a lot. Please don't tell Mum, Dad asked. It will be our little secret, some secrets. This will come in handy the next time I get into trouble. Not that I get into trouble much. We had been wondering why Mum had brought a spare suitcase with her to America. We know why now. Her arms were barely long enough to carry all the shopping bags. All the clothes that she bought were either red, white or blue and had USA written on it. Guess everyone in Banban will know where the McMoans were on holiday this summer. We went to visit a friend of my dad's who lives in America for 2 days. It was Fandabadosi, his friend. Brendan has a swimming pool in his back garden with a diving board. We didn't even have time to say hello to his friend. We just put our swimming togs on so fast and jumped straight into the pool. It was terrific. We splashed and splashed for ages. I would love a pool in our garden, but don't think that will happen. Mark decided that he was going to show off by doing a big fancy dive from the diving board. He did a few dives at first that weren't that high, but then he decided to challenge me. But you can't do this, Mikey, he shouted as he started to run along the diving board. We were all watching, which wasn't so lucky for Mark, because as he got near the edge of the board and jumped, he slipped. He did go up into the air, but unfortunately for him, he landed on his bum, bounced back into the air and ended up doing the biggest belly flop ever into the pool. Dad laughed so much that he fell into the pool too. When he surfaced, he had a big red belly and an even redder face. Mum just shook her head. Mark McMoan, you are about as graceful as an elephant, she said. It is amazing that there is any water left in the pool after that. Still not a clue what he meant by that, but it sounded funny, so we laughed anyway. The next day, Brendan brought us on a drive to show where all the famous actors and singers lived. Their houses are huge, and I mean huge. Then he brought us to the biggest sports store I've ever seen. I was so happy I could happily spend the whole day here. I wouldn't even have time for food. Now that is serious. Every type of sports equipment that you could want was here. Well, except for hurleys and GAA footballs. I wanted to buy everything. After a while, I found the one section I was looking for, the basketball section. I tried to get the latest Chris layup poster. Remember I told you that he is my favorite player of all time? There was a full-size basketball hoop in the store. A few kids were throwing balls into it. I got to throw a few too. Then one of the supervisors came over to the hoop. I thought I was in trouble again for throwing the ball in the shop. He was really tall and looked very serious. Guys, he said, I've been watching you all throwing a few hoops. You are pretty good. How about a little competition? Winner gets the latest Chris layup poster. You interested now? This was one time I didn't mind volunteering. Then this old man put up his hand. Excuse me, young man, he said. Can't we old-timers have a go at winning too? My garden loves Chris. Watch Cali. Too, the supervisor laughed. Sure, Pops, you can have a go at beating the kids. He said we all had thrown from 3 different spots. If you missed, you were out. No props to me. After 4 rounds, there was just the old man and George indeed left. This was it. Sudden death. The old man went for a swish, straight in. Then I throw it in off the blackboard. Same thing happened next round. This old man was good. Then it happened. He threw and missed. He hit the rim and bounced out. This was it. My chance to be a hero again. Well, in my mind anyway. Everyone went quiet. I was sweating so much that I could barely hold the ball. I steadied myself, took a deep breath, and threw the basketball. It seemed to be up in the air forever. Then it hit the backboard and fell onto the rim. Then instead of falling in, it decided to go right around the whole rim and decided to go the entire way around the rim again. It stopped and then slowly fell into the net. Me nervous. I was delighted, even though it was an old man that I had won against. The old man shook my hand and said, "Well done, youngster." The supervisor then came over and handed me the poster. Happy days. I felt bad about beating the old man, so I went above and tapped him on the elbow. "Excuse me," I said, "you take it and give it to your grandson. I will get one some other time." The old man took the poster and shook my hand. "Young man, you are something else." "Thanks, but I can't take it from you. In fact, there's something you should know. I haven't been honest with you. I don't have a grandson. I don't even have a son." Then he put his hand up to his head and started pulling off a wig. Then he pulled this stretchy mask off of his face. It looked weird, but things were about to get a lot weirder. The old man was none other than my hero, Chris Layup, in disguise. I didn't know whether to laugh or cry. I just started shaking and mumbling and pointing my finger at him. Everybody cracked up laughing. Then they laughed so much that I ended up laughing with them. Chris came over and shook my hand again. "Kid, do you want me to sign that poster for you?" "What's your name?" I couldn't answer, so Dad had to tell him. Chris signed the poster, and then the supervisor took a photo of Chris and me. That is a photo I'm getting framed. This was nearly better than scoring in the school final. Nearly then, before we knew it, it was time to fly home. The holiday was all over. I actually missed hanging around with my old buddy Wingy. Just don't tell him I said that, okay? I brought home presents for my gang, and I even bought Mrs. Small a present too. I got her one of those bobblehead toys of the president, and you know, the orange looking fella with the funny hair. We took another one of those yellow taxis to the airport. They really are everywhere. Even Millie started counting them. All you could hear from her was, "There's another one and another one and another one." After the plane took off, I tried watching a movie on the flight home, but I was so tired from the holiday that I fell asleep. We all did. I woke up after 4 hours and we were still only halfway home. The air hostess was really nice, and we got a heap of treats on the flight, just like we did on the way over. I wonder if every flight is the same. The pilot must be stuffed with treats because he is always on the plane. We got home to Banban at 2:00 in the afternoon, and we all had to go to bed. Apparently, we were all suffering from something called jet lag. Haven't a clue what it is, but I just know I have never been this tired before, ever. I called round to Mrs. Small the next day with her present. She said she loved it, but I am not so sure Wingy was happy because I brought him home loads of sweets from America, especially as they were sweets that you can't buy here. I got him a baseball cap with a big W on the front too. It was cool being able to tell my friends all about my fantastic holiday, but even cooler to be able to show them all the photos that I had taken on the phone. Maybe this technology stuff isn't so bad after all. It's still prefer to be outside kicking a ball about the place though. The end. I hope you enjoyed. the rest of that big long chapter, and tomorrow I might be finishing the book. Yeah, I probably will. So enjoy the rest of your weekend and evening, and go to bed now soon because it's nearly 8 o'clock, well, nearly 6:30. So enjoy the rest of your day, and I guess I will see you all tomorrow for day 322 of Rhys's stories. So bye everybody.